The Ultimate Husband. By Sky Kissing Wolf. Episode 13. Valentine's Day is coming soon, Lily. It would be such a blessing to receive a set of Posia Eleganza's Crown Line cosmetics. Phoebe said to Lily. You. Keep on dreaming. Lily said with a smile. At present, Posia Eleganza's Crown Line had an exceptionally high price and was limited to only 520 sets, which were probably all sold out. Those who could buy them were big families who had ample connections. Smaller families like the Lindens had zero chance of obtaining them. All right, enough. Lily giggled. Let's go and buy a couple of clothes. Granny's birthday is coming soon. We have to dress nicely for the celebration. Phoebe nodded, then walked into a store arm in arm with Lily. The next day, at Platinum Corporation. Daryl sat in the general manager's office and got up from the sofa. It was 2 a.m. by the time they finished their drinking session the night before. He could not be bothered to go home, so he decided to just sleep at the company. His cell phone vibrated, and he swiped open to see a message from his mother-in-law, Samantha. So now you have learned not to come back home, haven't you? If you don't want to stay at home, then don't ever come back again. Less than 5 minutes after the text message was received, he received another from Lily. Granny's birthday is the day after tomorrow. Buy a present for her and don't embarrass me too much. Daryl placed his phone away after reading the 2 messages and he soon heard a knock on his door. A beautiful woman dressed in business attire walked in. It was his secretary, Pearl Hahn. President Davy, we've just signed the partnership contract with the Linden clan and they've already sent someone here. Pearl said. They said that they'd like to take over Giselle's image consultancy. William is already waiting outside. Tell him to scram. Daryl waved his hand and said, make it clear to the Linden family that the contract is cancelled. Yes. Pearl bowed and walked out of the room. William was waiting anxiously outside the door. Lily was the one who sealed the deal, but Grandmother Linden had passed Lily's efforts to him and even sent him to discuss with Platinum Corporation. Haha. Rumor had it that Platinum Corporation's newly signed Giselle was beautiful and had a stunningly sexy body. If Platinum Corporation agreed to let the Linden style Giselle's image, they would get all the credit. Mr. Linden. Pearl walked over in her high heels. William looked at her from head to toe. It was not surprising that Platinum Corporation was a premier company for A-list celebrities. Even the president's secretary was very pretty. Miss Hahn. William greeted as he walked over with a smile. What did the president say? When can we start handling Giselle's affairs? Apologies, Mr. Linden. Pearl flashed a smile. Our president told you to scram. The contract that was signed earlier has also been cancelled. What? William bellowed in shock. He was not in a position to show his displeasure regardless of how angry he was. He could not afford to provoke Platinum Corporation. His lips curled up into a modest smile, though it looked uglier than if he were to cry. Why? Pearl explained gently. Our president stated that it was Lily who came and handled the negotiations. Platinum Corporation's decision to cooperate with your company is solely out of respect for Lily. She has to be the one to show up and discuss any projects in the future. No one else will be entertained. As soon as she finished speaking, several security guards immediately escorted William away. At the Linden family villa. The old lady sat in the chair, sipped a big mouthful of tea, and massaged her chest continuously. You. What did you say? The old lady asked as she stared at William. Granny, Platinum Corporation stated that they wouldn't cooperate with us anymore. William explained with teary eyes and runny nose. They told me to scram. Granny, why is Platinum Corporation being so unreasonable? One of the Linden family's damsels voiced her unhappiness. That's right, Granny. Platinum Corporation has agreed to cooperate with us. The contract has been signed, and all of a sudden they want to terminate it now. Isn't that a breach of contract? We can sue them. Yes, Grandma. The contract clearly says that whoever breaches the terms will have to compensate 20 million in damages. Let's sue them. Several of the family's younger generation spoke in succession as they fumed in anger. The old lady was expressionless. Their twittering annoyed her and she slammed the table heavily. Shut up, all of you. Everyone kept quiet at once. They took a step back after seeing the old lady's anger. You're all a bunch of short-sighted younglings. The old woman frowned and said. Would you dare to sue Platinum Corporation even if they did violate the contract? Don't you know that the Darby clan owns Platinum Corporation? They're the preeminent family in Jiangnan. They can smother all of us with a pinch of the finger. It wouldn't be a problem for them to compensate 20 million, but are you brave enough to demand it? Everyone was dumbstruck and began looking at each other. Her statement was irrefutable. Indeed, 20 million were peanuts to the Platinum Corporation, but if the Lindens dared to sue them, they would be burning bridges with the Platinum Corporation. Life would only be difficult from then on. William, what else did Platinum Corporation say? The old lady asked. They can't possibly terminate the contract without any reason. Did you offend them? Granny, I swear to God, I didn't offend them. William blurted out hastily. Granny, Platinum Corporation said that the earlier contract discussions were done with Lily. They said, they only cooperated with us out of courtesy for Lily. All future negotiations must involve her and they won't accept anyone else. The dozen or so people present were the backbone of the Linden clan. At that moment, they all exchanged glances and saw each other's shocked reactions. The Platinum Corporation cooperated with the Linden family for the sake of Lily alone. How could it have been Lily? She was nothing more than one of the Linden family's juniors, and the company Lily ran was the least profitable of all the companies in the clan. Was Lily so promising that the Platinum Corporation had eyes only for her? Donghai Airport. Lily and Samantha got out of the car and glanced at their watches. Dad will be getting off the plane soon, right, Mom? Lily asked. 6 months ago, Lily's father, Wentworth Linden, went abroad to start a business. Rumor had it that he did quite well during that period and often sent Samantha short video recordings of his life abroad, driving luxury cars and visiting high-end office buildings. Since it was Grandmother Linden's birthday, Wentworth said that he would return home and give her a surprise. It won't take more than 10 minutes for him to get off the plane, Samantha said as the two of them walked into the airport. The two women always turned heads wherever they went. It could not be denied that Samantha and Lily's mother-daughter combination was extremely eye-catching. Ding ding. Lily received a text message. She opened it and saw that it was from Daryl, and it contained only short sentences. Honey, you must reject Grandma's offer if she calls you later and asks you to negotiate with Platinum Corporation. What was he up to? Lily's slender body shuddered. She had repeatedly warned him not to call her that, but he seemed to lack the ability of simple comprehension. Moreover, Grandmother Linden had already handed over the responsibility of negotiation with Platinum Corporation to William. Why would she ask Lily to handle it again? Grandmother Linden's favoritism toward William was an open secret. Lily might have been the one who secured cooperation with Platinum Corporation, but she had been robbed of her efforts by William. Did that loser text you? Samantha looked over and asked coldly. Lily nodded. She knew better than anyone who that loser referred to. Let me be very clear to you. At that moment, Samantha stopped in her tracks, looked at Lily, and said, Your dad is home today, and once your grandma's birthday celebration ends, your dad and I will bring you to get the divorce done. You must divorce him. Mom. Daryl, Lily wanted to say something nice about him, but after thinking for a while, she realized how limited her vocabulary was when it came to praising Daryl. Lily was unsure of her feelings toward Daryl. All she knew was that Daryl had been with her for 3 years, worked hard, and endured every single complaint. He was merely unambitious in his quest to improve himself and was quite a good person aside from that. Enough, stop talking right now. Samantha waved her hand and said, if this loser doesn't leave, I will. Episode 14. Think carefully, Lily. Think about how much scorn and ridicule you had to face since marrying Derry. Samantha said coldly. We've provided him food and clothes during the 3 years of your marriage to him. At least he has the decency to repay the favor by lending us money to help with the company's $5 million deficit. We're even now and all I want is for you to leave that loser. Mom. Lily bit her lip. Also, Ashton called me and said that he'd attend your grandma's birthday. Samantha continued. He said he prepared an amazing gift that your grandma will love. You can and should be with him if grandma takes a liking to him. As she was talking, she saw a man coming over from some distance away. Dressed in a suit and leather shoes, he held a suitcase in his hand. The person was Wentworth, Lily's father. Lily and Samantha went over to welcome him. The family of 3 then chatted and laughed all the way out of the airport. Back home, Samantha cooked a sumptuous meal. Cooking was usually Daryl's duty and she had not cooked in a long time, so it was unsurprising that she could maintain her appearance so well at her age. At the dinner table, Samantha asked Wentworth how life was abroad. Wentworth remarked that his life was uninteresting, other than 3 meals a day in high-class hotels and daily business discussions with the richest men in the region. He hyped up his stories, and as he spoke, he took out a check and scribbled on it before handing it to Samantha. 50 million. Samantha grinned from ear to ear when she saw the check. Ha ha ha, our days of suffering have finally come to an end. He took out a 50 million check like it was nothing. I heard a few days ago that your company was facing some problems, Lily Budd. Something about a shortage of 5 million. Wentworth looked at Lily and said, I was worried about you when your mother called me the other day, but at that time, my funds were still strapped in the stock market. There was no way I could have helped you, but it's all good now though. I've cashed the money out. Wentworth scribbled on another check while talking. Here's another check for 50 million. Wentworth chuckled and said, by the way, the check I've given you can't be cashed in right away. You can only do so in a week as the check will only take effect after I leave the country. Was there such a requirement? Samantha bought his statements despite having some doubts and nodded repeatedly with a smile. Finally, they could rise to their feet again after enduring for so long. They were eager to know whether anyone would dare to look down on them again during Grandmother Linden's birthday. Ding ding. The family was chatting away happily when Lily's phone suddenly rang. After glancing at the caller ID, the entire family looked at each other. A call from Grandmother Linden. What's the matter? Samantha asked at once. The old lady was personally in charge of all the Linden clan's affairs and was therefore swamped in work every single day. It was usually the Linden family's elders who were in constant contact with Grandmother Linden. She never phoned her juniors in the past, especially when it came to Lily, as the latter had the lowest status among the Linden family's juniors. Beats me. Lily replied as she answered the call and switched on the loudspeaker mode. Lily Budd? The old lady's voice came from the other side of the phone. Despite her reluctance to initiate a call with someone younger than her, she was completely bereft of all options. Platinum Corporation made it clear that any future business discussions must only involve Lily and Lily alone. It was futile for others to handle the negotiations. Lily Budd, Granny wants to ask you a favor. The old lady continued. The 3 of them were stunned after hearing that sentence. Grandmother Linden had been in charge of everything for so many years. When did she ever ask anyone for favors? Samantha hurriedly said, Mom, what's going on? Please just tell us what you need. I want to ask Lily Budd. The old lady was silent for a moment, but eventually continued, I want to ask her for her favor to negotiate with Platinum Corporation to take over Giselle's image consultation. Samantha was puzzled. The old lady had already handed the responsibility to William. Lily was undoubtedly the one who negotiated the deal, but William was allowed to take the credit. Why then, would the old lady hand the responsibility back to Lily again? Although Samantha's heart lamented the unfairness, she still smiled. Don't worry, Mom. I'll tell Lilybud to go there later in the afternoon. After all, the grandmother was the head of the family. Samantha was flattered that the old woman would call them and beg them with that pleading tone. There was no reason to refuse. Despite that, a shiver came over Lily's body. Darryl had just sent a text message to her, telling her to refuse if the old lady came calling. How could Darryl know that Grandma would call her? Was he a fortune teller? Lily bit her lip tightly. Unaware of her conscious mind's inner workings, she picked up the phone and said, "I'm sorry, Granny, but I refuse. Since you've already given the task to William, he should be the one to negotiate." You. The old lady was thoroughly incensed. You've become stubborn now, haven't you, Lilybud? Do you believe that the Lindens will fail in securing the partnership with the Platinum Corporation without you? How mighty arrogant of you! Lily had already ended the call before the old lady could finish talking. Back at the dinner table, Samantha and Wentworth looked at each other, followed by the former lashing out. Lilybud, what are you doing? Samantha slammed the table angrily. How are we going to live out our days in the Linden clan after offending the old lady? Grandma is partial toward William, but you can't deny that William is competent at what he does. Aren't you going to show her any respect, now that she's set aside her arrogance by phoning you and asking you to negotiate? Lily bit her lip tightly because Darryl had sent her a text message in advance. Her thought process was a mystery to her, and she wondered why, for that brief moment, that she believed Darryl's words and rejected the old lady. Listening to Samantha's complaints, Lily silently took out her cell phone and absent-mindedly sent a text to Derry, "I've rejected the old lady, what should I do next?" Everyone called Darryl a loser, and it angered Lily because she felt that he was not doing anything to try and improve himself. Be that as it may, his recent goings-on was something of a curiosity, since it seemed as though Darryl constantly came to her aid at critical moments. Her subconscious mind had gone so far as to begin heeding Darryl's words. The phone rang not long later and Darryl replied with a couple of short sentences, "The old lady will continue begging you and you'll continue to refuse. Platinum Corporation won't acknowledge anyone else except you. Trust me." Lily felt an inexplicable sense of security after reading his last two words. All of a sudden, Samantha then snatched her phone away. "Perfect. You rejected the old lady. It was Darryl who told you to do so, right?" Samantha's chest trembled as she pointed to Lily and lambasted, "Are you crazy? Do you really believe in Darryl's words? I'm telling you, you'd better divorce him after Grandma's birthday." "Mom, Darryl guessed that Granny would call me," Lily protested. Samantha became even angrier and slapped table heavily. "Mark my words, Darryl is a good-for-nothing. Look at everyone else. Do any other people have a son-in-law like him? Is there any family that doesn't have a son-in-law worth tens of millions?" She became increasingly agitated while she spoke, and her anger flared up at the mere mention of Darryl. In the afternoon, Grandmother Linden sent Stefan Linden to handle the negotiations. Stefan was one of the standout individuals among the Linden family's younger generation, and his status was second only to William. In the end, though he was chased out of Platinum Corporation by the security guards before even getting a chance to talk. The old woman began panicking when Stefan returned. What was going on? Was Lily the only person that Platinum Corporation would accept? Grandmother Linden sat on the chair and smoked her cigarettes one after another. "I have a plan, Granny." It was then that William walked over and said, "Granny, my guess is, Lily only managed to secure the contract because of her good looks." William postulated. From that, we can see that the Platinum Corporation's president is simply a womanizer. Lily isn't the only beautiful girl in our family. Elsa is also very beautiful, so why not let her give it a shot? Indeed, two women in the Linden family were widely recognized for their beauty. One was Lily, and the other was none other than Elsa. Based on their age, Lily even had to address Elsa as her elder sister. Everyone agreed with that suggestion. William's remarks made sense, and they were certain that Platinum Corporation's president only fancied Lily's good looks. Early the next morning, Elsa went to Platinum Corporation alone. Elsa was undeniably stunning, she was the creme in both body figure and looks. Episode 15. Clad in a sheath dress, Elsa stood at the entrance of Platinum Corporation. Not only was she charming and alluring, but many paparazzi also took pictures of her and assumed that she was a new rising star. Even the security guard thought Elsa was a celebrity and were cautious not to stop her. She went all the way up to the president's office, chancing upon Pearl walking out when she was just about to knock on the door and enter. Pearl was going to pour tea for Daryl at that time. The moment she opened the door and saw Elsa, she immediately ejected the latter from the building after knowing that she was sent by the Linden family. Was there anyone who did not know who Elsa was? As a renowned beauty in Donghai City, she had many suitors and always rejected them. On that day, however, she was the one who experienced rejection, and she felt lingering displeasure. The old lady was beyond anxious when she learned of what happened. The next day, at the Linden family villa. It was Grandmother Linden's birthday and the atmosphere was lively in the villa. Family members rushed back regardless of where they were, and news of Grandmother Linden's 70th birthday also made its rounds throughout Donghai City. It was only natural to invite plenty of people to her 70th birthday. Although the Linden family was a second-rate family, there were still quite a number of people who were invited to the birthday banquet. A fleet of cars was seen parked outside the Linden family villa. In front of a Land Rover stood Lily and Samantha, who were both looking impatiently at their watches. Very soon, they saw an electric bike driving over slowly. Once the vehicle stopped, Daryl hurried over. There was a traffic jam. It was a bad traffic jam. Daryl explained breathlessly. Damn it. Pearl was supposed to drive him there, but the traffic was far too congested. After being stuck for more than an hour on the viaduct, he promptly took out the electric bike from the trunk and rode it over as the banquet was about to start soon. As it were, the Lindens were a prominent family, prompting many guests to look over and begin laughing when they saw someone riding an electric bike. Look, isn't that Daryl? The Lindens live in son-in-law. You bet it's him. Ha! Such a prick. He's lucky to get married to a beauty like Lily. Ha, you don't know anything. I heard that this kid had been sleeping on the floor even though he lived with Lily for 3 years. Ha! Several juniors from the White family gathered together to gossip. The Whites and the Lindens have maintained good relations for generations and were linked through several marriages. They thus had intimate knowledge of the Linden family. Lily felt a little embarrassed after hearing those loud discussions. She said to Daryl, "Could you park the bike a bit farther next time? Didn't you notice that there are plenty of guests here?" Oh. Daryl nodded indifferently. Samantha was infuriated to see his attitude. It was such an important day, yet he still wore some street stall clothes. How could he be so shameless? "Have you prepared Grandma's present?" Lily asked in a low voice. "Yes." Daryl chuckled and took out a very shabby-looking wooden box. "You!" Lily stomped after seeing the box. "What kind of gift is this?" "It's Granny's 70th birthday today. You can't just give her some junk." "It's not junk." Daryl responded succinctly. "Not junk." That was practically broken. Unable to hold it any longer, Samantha pointed at Daryl to curse at him, only to be interrupted by a voice. Calling all the Linden family children to wish Grandma a happy birthday. As soon as the person finished their words, hundreds of people from the Linden family swarmed into the villa. Samantha glared at Daryl. She suppressed her intention of scolding him and hurried in. At that moment, the guests were already seated inside the villa. The old lady was dressed in a very festive manner. She sat on the main seat and looked incredibly jubilant. "President Sohn of the Skybrook Group, please come forward and offer your birthday wishes." The host held a microphone and called out. A middle-aged man walked up. He was Albert Sohn, who was worth hundreds of millions and had a very good relationship with the old lady. He was followed by his female secretary, who held a big box in her hand. May you have a blessed birthday and a long life, Grandma Linden." Albury laughed and opened the box. Gasps were heard from all around. It was a cloisonné from the Qing dynasty. Cloisonné, also known as cloisonné enamel, possessed a noble history. The vase in front of her looked like it was from the Qianlong period. At first glance, it appeared to be premium item with a value that was probably no less than 1 million. Such respect. $1 million birthday gift. All right, President Sohn, please have a seat. You don't need to spend so much next time. My heart will be always remember you. Thank you, President Sohn. The old lady was so happy that she nodded repeatedly and could not even close her mouth. As everyone knew, Grandmother Linden liked antiques and she loved the gift. After that, all the other gifts looked much plainer in comparison. It was not until William appeared that everyone in the audience paid full attention. Everyone heard that William would present a momentous gift for Grandmother Linden's birthday. After all, he was her favorite. William held a box, then tucked his hair before walking to the center and bowing to Grandmother Linden. "Grandma, I, William Linden, hereby wish you a long and prosperous life." William grinned. No one cared about what he said. Their sole focus was the box in his hand. The box was not that big, but it was entirely green and was crafted from the highest quality jade. So luxurious. A gift box made of pure jade. William gave a lengthy speech before he finally got to the point and snapped his fingers. The lights within that initially bright room immediately went out. The curtains were also drawn and the room plunged into complete darkness. The crowd was becoming restless when William assured. "Don't panic, everyone. My gift to Granny requires the light to be switched off." As he said that, he opened the jade box swiftly, eliciting gasps of awe. There was a fist-sized knight-shining pearl inside the jade box. When the knight-shining pearl made its appearance, it did not shine as bright as day, but it was at least as bright as 8 or none candles. Just how much would this huge piece of knight-shining pearl cost? Probably upward of 2 million. Okay. The old lady laughed. "William, Grandma didn't pamper you in vain." Everyone joined in the applause. His gift was nothing short of spectacular. Such a huge knight-shining pearl was a rarity in Donghai City. At that juncture, however, Daryl unwittingly chuckled out loud. Is William trying to be funny? Others might not have the eye for it, but Daryl could see that the knight-shining pearl was worth no more than $10,000. It was obviously synthetic. Was there any treasure that Daryl never came across growing up in the Darby family? The office of the family company's general manager had a fist-sized knight-shining pearl too. That pair cost more than 2 million. Although it was not expensive, money alone could not buy it. Natural knight-shining pearls had always been regarded as priceless. In ancient times, it was only emperors and empresses who could own such pearls. Since the demand for it was high, some devious individuals used chemicals to artificially fuse the smaller pearls together to make it big. Synthetic knight-shining pearls were easy to spot, they were glued in the middle. The traces of glue in William's knight-shining pearl were too obvious. "What are you laughing at?" At that moment, William jumped out and yelled at Daryl. "Sorry, I couldn't control myself," Daryl covered his mouth. "Your pearl is just so fake." What the hell are you talking about?" William blushed and shouted. He knew that the Knight Shining Pearl was fake, but no one from the Linden family had ever seen one before. Therefore, no one present could tell the genuine product from the counterfeit one. Daryl's comment that it was fake only served to increase William's anxieties. "Quit your nonsense, Daryl." Lily nudged Daryl lightly. Daryl would be made a victim if he provoked William. Sure enough, William sneered, "You're a live-in son-in-law. You only get $200 daily for your pocket money. Understandably, you wouldn't know what a Knight Shining Pearl is. I won't argue with you, but I'm curious to see what gift you'll be giving Grandma." William had secretly glanced over and seen Daryl holding a broken box in his hand. "Ha! The box is so shabby that it's worthless." Daryl did not speak either, but he really could not control himself from laughing. On one side, Samantha gritted her teeth angrily before looking at Daryl and warned, "Get out of here if you don't stop laughing." For more episodes, please support my channel by hitting the subscribe button.